Wrongdoing. The Shelby Von Holt case. Shelby Aon Von Holt was a lively little kid brought into the world on September 7, 2000 in Stronghold, Wayne, Indiana, USA. Shelby was the second kid in a family that incorporated her mom Shea Hartman, father to Von Holt, more established sister Peyton Hartman, and more youthful kind Evan Von Holt and Isaac Von Hall. Shelby moved on from Troy Center Secondary School in 2018. Over the course of the following 2 years she worked at a steakhouse and different spots while examining her ideal profession. She was by all accounts inclining towards a helpful field, despite the fact that she hadn't yet concluded the specific specialty, carrying on day-to-day life like some other 20-year-old. Shelby's lively character made her the bubbling energy source everyone crowds around. She was truly grinning, wanted to move, sing and invest time with companions. Curiously, Shelby was living freely, albeit the reasons or conditions for this stay hazy, despite the fact that she wasn't especially dynamic on most virtual entertainment stages. Her presence on Facebook was remarkable. She habitually posted bright photographs, large numbers of which included minutes imparted to her young niece Camilla, the little girl of her more seasoned sister Tin. As indicated by her mom, Shelby met another youthful lady named Valerie Rose Hardick on Facebook. However, Valerie at 22 was marginally more seasoned. The two supposedly never had a cozy relationship. Little as had some significant awareness of Valerie's life, yet it has been reputed that she had a pained youth, sketchy affiliations and possibly some psychological wellness challenges. On June 20, 2021 at 6:48 p.m. a 911 dispatcher got a call from a troubled lady. She figured out how to convey that she was harmed and said that Valerie shot her. Whether she gave her location or, on the other hand, in the event that the police followed the call, is muddled. Anyway, not long after, officials from the Post Wayne Police Division showed up at a home where Shelby lived. After showing up at the scene, officials constrained passage into the home and found Shelby scarcely cognizant, experiencing different discharge wounds encompassed by a significant pool of blood, while one official remained with Shelby. The rest performed what is named a defensive scope of the occupants to guarantee no different casualties were available and that the assailant or assailants were not still inside, as they anticipated the appearance of a rescue vehicle and neighborhood firemen. The officials endeavored to give medical aid. A surgeon inquired as to whether she realized who had shot her. She distinguished Valerie as the culprit of the assault. Not long after, crisis clinical faculty assumed control over Shelby's essential consideration, hurrying her to the close-by emergency clinic. She was cognizant, in basic condition, yet alive. In the interim, Shelby's family was educated regarding the occurrence, and Post Wayne Police Division officials started assembling likely proof from her home. A critical piece of this proof was a doorbell camera. After a prompt survey of its recording, an individual of interest was distinguished. However, subtleties were not openly revealed at the time. A public allure was made encouraging anybody with relevant data connected with the case to contact the police office or give subtleties namelessly through wrongdoing. Stowe in A Bit of Destiny. The day after Shelby was fundamentally harmed, an upsetting occurrence happened about 50 kilometers away in Ohio around 10:30 in the first part of the day. The neighborhood police division got a few calls about a dubious-looking young lady lingering around an odds and ends shop arranged at a service station. Onlookers guaranteed she had been meandering inside the store and close to the service stations for about an hour, seeming to attempt to impression the Visa numbers clients were utilizing for their buys. However, that wasn't all. The police province had proactively gotten a call from a similar man lady seen before at the corner shop. He guaranteed she had pointed a firearm at his back. Soon after, with safeguards taken, cops showed up at the service station where the lady was as yet present, and they continued to catch her with practically no fierce episodes. The lady was distinguished as 22-year-old Valerie Rose Hardick. She was in control of a 9mm handgun, which, as per reports, matched the weapon utilized in the attack on Shelby. The name Valerie was the one expressed by Shelby while recognizing her assailant. To additionally cement the doubts, Valerie's vehicle was a similar one caught by Shelby's doorbell camera, seen leaving the scene minutes before the harmed young lady's crisis call. Notwithstanding the continuous examination, Valerie was reserved and moved to the district restorative office looking for her arraignment in the neighborhood metropolitan court. In the meantime, Shelby was frantically gripping to life. 89mm shot injuries had seriously harmed her Chest and midsection specialists had set her in an actuated unconsciousness, doing everything possible to save her. Lamentably, 3 days after the severe assault on June 22, 202:21, Shelby's body surrendered to the wounds and she was pronounced dead. As per media reports, Shelby's mom referenced her little girl died in the wake of going through 4 complex stomach medical procedures that didn't create the expected results. Shelby got 20 blood bondings and the clinical guess was consistently dreary. Assuming she had made do, specialists accepted that Shelby's legs should be removed. One could consider what could drive a 22-year elderly person to kill one more young lady so violently. Founded on the restricted subtleties, the main rationale the examiners uncovered was envy. It was claimed that Shelby was dating a young fellow to whom Valerie had major areas of strength for. Despite the fact that his character was never uncovered, Valerie was accused of criminal attack and bothered dangers in it kept in Ohio. She was set a bail of $100,000 for compromising a man at the corner store with a gun. After the underlying legal procedures in Ohio, Valerie was moved to Allen Province to have to deal with penalties for the homicide of Shelby. In a confidential function, Shelby Von Holt's remaining parts were memorialized at a burial service home on June 29, 2021, after which they were incinerated. As the legal cycle for the homicide unfurled toward the start of 2022, Valerie Rose Hardick entered a request bargain. She conceded to the homicide of Shelby, referring to a psychological maladjustment as a guard as a component of the understanding. The indictment dropped an irritating charge connected with the utilization of a gun during the commission of the wrongdoing, which might have added 20 extra years to her sentence. Having conceded, the condemning hearing was the main step left. This occurred in September 2022 in the unrivaled court of Allen Province. As concurred, Valerie entered her request as liable, however deranged. During the conference, Valerie's guard lawyer attempted to introduce relieving conditions. He itemized Valerie's difficult childhood set apart by the demise of her stepmother, maltreatment from a stepbrother, and a background marked by psychological wellness issues. Anyway, the examiners featured the minor rationale of desirous strategy that drove Valerie to end Shelby's life. The indictment likewise underlined Valerie's criminal history, taking note of its heightening over the long haul. They brought up that when Valerie killed Shelby, she was waiting on the post-trial process, part of an elective program, because of past charges. All through the conference, Valerie showed sporadic way of behaving. On occasion she seemed sound and completely mindful of the circumstance, while at different minutes she appeared to be anxious, occupied, and, surprisingly, grinned at Shelby's family. Still, she responded to the court's inquiries precisely. Media reports didn't indicate precisely exact thing Valerie said whenever allowed the opportunity to talk, yet they featured that she never showed regret or apologized to Shelby's family. Shelby's folks anyway plainly conveyed their significant misfortune during their casualty effect proclamations. Shelby's dad reviewed his girl's affection for critical images like gestures of goodwill and referenced that at the hour of her homicide she was finding her direction in life. He pondered Valerie's disposition during her blameworthy request, expressing that by simply hearing her voice one could detect her absence of regret. The despondency-stricken dad declared that by owning up to purposefully killing Shelby, Valerie wore her wrongdoing like a respectable symbol, which showed obvious proof of her absence of disappointment. Furthermore, Toby expressed that while desire was introduced as Valerie's inspiration for killing Shelby, he accepted there must be something else entirely to the story that wasn't uncovered. Alluding to the guard's contention about Valerie's psychological maladjustment, Shelby's dad brought up that detainment facilities are loaded up with individuals with mental issues. He promised never to quit looking for replies concerning why this misfortune happened. In a genuine reflection, Toby stressed that there were 2 misfortunes for this situation, the first being the stunning and anguishing passing of his girl, and the second being Valerie's decision to neglect her future. Out of fury, he called attention to that Valerie's youngsters would endure significantly. It was uncovered that at 22 Valerie previously had something like 2 youngsters, however no further insights concerning them were made public. The lamenting dad communicated that the misfortune wouldn't end at the burial ground or in the court, expressing that genuine equity would never be tracked down in such misfortune. Anyway, he shared that he excused Valerie to find harmony inside himself, feeling that his confidence in Christ directed him to this choice. He communicated certainty that Shelby was with God and emphasized his profound love for her. Shelby's mom likewise shared her feelings. She affectionately recollected her little girl as a princess from the day she was conceived. She depicted Shelby as a caring soul who wouldn't hold back to help a companion regardless of the distance. Shana focused on going to all conceivable allure hearings that Valerie's guard could start in the future. Shana shared the torture of the memory of her dead girl and the weakness she felt being not able to safeguard her. Everything she could do was lay her head on Shelby's chest as her little girl lay in a restoratively prompted trance state. She openly recognized her little girl's boldness as Shelby had figured out how to name her assailant 2 times and battled fearlessly for her life in the wake of being gone after Shannon. Point by point Shelby's serious wounds, making sense of that. Her heart was hustling quick to such an extent that her body couldn't support it. Shannon referenced she didn't look for remuneration for her girl's clinical costs, which added up to almost a portion of $1 million, as these were waived upon Shelby's passing. Burial service costs were around $115,000, yet Jan expressed that she didn't completely accept that she could at any point get pay and needed no cash from Valerie. Keeping down tears, Shelby's mom communicated that recollections were all she had left. She wanted to exchange places with her girl, taking note of that there were days when the sadness was extreme to such an extent that she was unable to force herself to get up after the introductions by the legitimate delegates and the casualties' family explanations. The court anticipated the decision from the appointed authority. Given the request arrangement under Indiana regulation, the sentence could go between at least 45 years to a limit of 65 years, with the normal being 55 years. Valerie's safeguard requested the base sentence featuring different relieving factors, while the indictment looked for the most extreme. Prior to reporting his choice, the appointed authority expressed it was clear the homicide was planned and Valerie was completely mindful of her activities, which was further obvious when she escaped to Ohio. The adjudicator recognized that Valerie could have had a difficult childhood, confronting lacking schooling, individual injuries and emotional wellness issues. Anyway, he underscored her developing crook record. At the hour of Shelby's homicide, Valerie was at that point having to deal with forthcoming penalties for a different wrongdoing. Given her past fruitless recovery endeavors and criminal foundation, her injury couldn't be considered a feasible reason. Pondering these focuses, the adjudicator condemned 23-year-old Valerie to the greatest conceivable sentence of 65 years in jail. He likewise requested the obliteration of the weapon utilized in the murder. As per the American Remedial Framework's records, Valerie is imprisoned in Indiana Ladies' Jail, with the earliest assessed delivery date being June 18, 27, when she will be 72 years of age. After the court meeting, Shelby's folks communicated fulfillment with the decision anyway. In later explanations, they explained that no judgment could lighten their aggravation while Valerie would spend her days in jail. Shelby's mom underscored that she would always miss and recollect her girl. Curiously, this case is one of only a handful of exceptional where a human casualty had the option to distinguish her executioner. Expounding on this perspective, an examiner who was not engaged with this case made sense of that while a perishing casualty recognizes their aggressor. Such proclamations are known as kicking the bucket statements. These give a beginning stage to analysts as well as stand as the sole exemption for the her standard in court preliminaries. Planning to guarantee the most dependable proof is introduced. He likewise focused on that such biting the dust statements are permissible in court since they tend to create more reliable articulations because of the gigantic tension and heartbreaking conditions encompassing